Hello, hello, and welcome to the weekly City Live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube every single week at 4:30 GMT plus 2, which is 10:30 EST. I am here live to give you some tips on healthier ways to eat, especially cutting down, limiting, or completely abstaining from sugar for your metabolic health. Oh, and my necklace just fell off. No necklace. So, for your metabolic health, for your mental health, for weight loss, easy weight loss. And today I want to talk about Purim and give you some of my experience of 25 years living in recovery from sugar addiction about Purim. And not just for people who are looking to abstain for sugar, even if you are thinking, you would like to cut down on your sugar intake, which can make a huge difference to your health and to your weight. So even cutting back can make a huge difference. So I want to give some tips because for anybody who doesn't know, Purim, the Jewish holiday of Purim, is a lot of the traditions are like the equivalent of Halloween. The children dress up, so do there's parties with costumes, and the kids also, everybody has to give like a food basket. So there's tons of junk food, and it's actually a tradition to get drunk on Purim. So people who are limiting their sugar intake are being absolutely surrounded with all this cakes and candies and nosh and alcohol and drunk people around, and it can be really, really challenging. And in general, we're going into now a period of like Purim now, and then the stress of cleaning for Passover, and then the Passover holiday with all that entails, which of course we will talk about in one of our lives before Passover, before Pesach. But as someone who is modern Orthodox, I live in Israel and I'm modern Orthodox Jewish, and I've been living for 25 years in recovery, living a sugar-free life with all the, ups and downs that entails. I I'm more than happy to share my experience about holidays in general, but Purim specifically. So one of the things I would like to talk about is getting all these junk food baskets. Even many people here in Israel, people at work start getting these, Purim packages from work, and the employers want to be nice to their employees, so they send them this huge basket full of this like very expensive, very delicious, very hyperstimulating, very addictive, and very fattening junk food. And during the holiday itself, of course, it's like all over the place. It's absolutely crazy, right? So, first of all, I want to give you a very, very important tip about all this junk food that starts lying around from the week before Purim. And my suggestion to you is that when you get a package with lots of junk, if you have decided that you're keeping it, don't leave it lying around on the table or on the counter. Right away, as soon as it comes into the house, put it into a closed container somewhere in a closet or fridge or your freezer where it is not at eye level. Because what happens is that when you leave all this junk lying around, be it like those days coming up to Purim, when you get a package maybe from work, or on Purim itself, when you're getting these mishloach manot, right? And they're all over and they're coming in all the time. When they're just lying around there, people, not just you, it's not just endangering your family, the people in your house, your kids are just going to do this unconscious eating. Like what happens is I've seen this happen with my own eyes. Somebody will like sort of say that and they're like, oh, why did I just eat that chocolate? I didn't even want it. I didn't even mean to have it. But you see, that's the psychology of it. What we see is what there is. And if there is all that junk food lying around in open packages especially, but even in closed packages, then people will open it and eat it. But if it's in a closed container and in a closet, then they really have to make a conscious decision to eat it before they go and eat it. So it's also not as stimulating. Sight, smell, watching people eat all the time is very, very stimulating to this hedonic eating, what's called this eating just for pleasure, just to get high on food. And for people who are sugar free, like me, like people who really feel that they're addicted to sugar, it's really, really hard to see, to like be exposed to that for days and like, for a whole day. And it really is hard. It takes a lot of inner energy to, to object or to like push back at all that stimulation. So when the junk food, at least in your home where you have control over what's going on, when you lower the level of that stimulation by taking away the visual stimulation of the junk food lying around, and of course, this isn't just for Purim, this is as a general rule in your home, well, then the chances of having that unconscious eating, and not just by you, just also by your family or the people who come into your house, is much, much lower. So that's my first tip is don't leave the junk food lying around if you've decided that you're keeping it in your home. Don't leave it lying around. Put it into closed containers and put it on a shelf that is not at eye level, wherever it's supposed to be it in the fridge or in the pantry or in the freezer. The second tip that I have for you is about now is for those people who have decided when they get the junk food that they don't want it. They don't want it in their house. There's a lot of people who make a conscious decision that they don't want junk food in their house. They don't eat it. They don't need it. They know it's not healthy for them. And they know that when it's in the house, they have a higher chance of eating it. So they've decided to take it out. That's, for example, what I recommend to my clients who I coach, who are doing a sugar detox, and I teach them to live sugar free. I tell them to keep at best a minimum, but certainly, the things that are your kryptonite, right? The things that you absolutely tempt you the most should not be in your house. But let's say somebody who's decided, somebody like me and my husband, Yana, we both don't eat sugar and flour. We don't have kids around who are going to eat it. So when I was getting these like huge packages of junk food, don't tell my kids because they're going to kill me. They won't kill me, but they actually found out and got upset with me a couple of times, but I just didn't want it around. So I got rid of it. But here's the thing. Many people, when they get these very expensive candies and cakes and stuff, so they don't want to throw it away, right? So they give it away. They give it to their kids to go take to school, or they put it in the teacher's room when they're teachers, or they take it to work, or they give it to soldiers here in Israel. Like everybody's giving their extra junk food that they don't want to eat because it's fattening and it makes you sick and it's not healthy for you. So they're giving it to these soldiers. Well, people, I have news for you. If you're getting rid of these foods because you know that they make you fat and sick, they also make the kids in school, the teachers in the teacher's room, the people at your workplace, and the soldiers fat and sick too. So, of course, they like it because it's very, very hyper delicious, but you actually are not doing them a favor by sending all these packages and heaps of sugary, starchy, hyper processed foods that are so tempting that they can't not eat them. You're not doing them a favor by sending it to them. So I want to challenge you. If you are one of these people who gets a package and you know that you don't want junk food in your home, I challenge you to throw it in the garbage. Throw the junk in the garbage. Don't pass it on so that other people will eat junk. That's my suggestion to you. And certainly not at Purim time when they're eating tons of junk anyway. So you're just adding to more harm to the harm that they're already doing. And when it comes to sugar consumption, it's very important to know that the amount of sugar consumed in the amount of time is very significant, which means that people who consume a large amount of sugar in a short amount of time, that is much, much more harmful than if they consume that same amount over a week, right? So these binges, and that's what happens, right? Because the workplace or these soldiers get like mountains and mountains of junk food, and then they end up eating tons and tons of junk food. So you are not doing anyone any favors by passing it on. Just throw it away if you're not you eating it yourself or having decided you don't want it in your home. That's the same thing for all the mishloach manot in Purim, on Purim. And I can tell you, by the way, I live in a community where we make for those of you who maybe are listening to this and are not Jewish, there is a tradition of giving food on Purim to at least two people. And in our community, for example, we have a lottery where it's basically you get a like sort of two families that you give it to. And here a lot of people have started giving things like a breakfast, right? So they'll give actually healthy foods like quiches and fruits and make a nice salad for the people or pot of soup. It doesn't have to be chock stock full of chocolates and candies and marshmallows and I don't know and cakes and cookies. So maybe you do want to put some because you feel like it's expected from you because it is a very socially expected thing to do, but it doesn't have to be just junk food. And I would say even more than that, invest more maybe in a very nice container or plate or bowl that the mishloach manot will be in, and less in these like expensive chocolates and candies. So let's invest in the things that really last and also are healthy for people rather than just piling high the junk. And when I give mishloach manot, I actually give real food. I make a low carb sushi and with cauliflower rice. If you want the recipe, you can PM me. I'll send it to you. And I send a beautiful salad, nuts, and those are the type of things I make. And even if you are sending, you know, rich foods like cakes and cookies or whatever it is, the more homemade it is, the better, rather than buying bought things that are industrialized. Just you should know. So that's regarding the mishloach manot. Regarding, and then now I want to talk about the meal. There is also a festive meal, right? A holiday meal, the Sudat Purim on Purim. And so here are a couple of tips regarding festive meals and special meals in general. Don't starve yourself before a big meal that you know you're going to, even whether it's a wedding or in a restaurant or the Purim Suda. So when you come to a big, rich meal and starving because you fasted the whole day because you don't want to have too many calories that day, which is I call that the diet mentality. What happens is you get there starving, and then whatever is being served first, that's what you're going to eat because you can't handle it anymore. And then people end up eating things that maybe they wouldn't eat on a regular basis, like like the pizzas, and like suddenly you're like somebody's like scarfing down hot dogs because I can't wait till like the steak is being served from the barbecue or whatever it is. So don't come to a festive rich meal starving. That's a bad idea because then you end up eating more, faster, and perhaps foods that you didn't plan on eating. The other thing is when you do come to a very rich meal, always begin with a big portion of vegetables, salad, cooked vegetables, something that will, because when we begin a meal, we're always hungriest. And when we're hungriest, the food tastes best and we eat it faster. So let's use those natural tendencies to eat to that the vegetables in our meal will taste the best and we eat them, most of them. And then by the time we get to the other parts of the meal, satiety has started setting in. We're starting to feel a little full. We're a little calmer. We can like slow down the rate of our eating, enjoy our meal more. And that can make a huge difference in these big and rich meals. So these are my tips for you for Purim, which is, first of all, right? If you decide you keeping the junk food that you're getting, put it in closed containers in closets and in the fridge, not at eye level. If you have decided you are not you don't want the junk food that you're getting and you're getting rid of it, throw it away. Mishloach manot, send real food and not just junk food, or send a nice dish instead of investing in like expensive junk food. And the fourth thing is, when you come to a festive meal, do not fast before the meal. Do not come starving to a big meal, and begin with vegetables. And to end this live, I want to give a really where this is my favorite part of teaching people how to live sugar free or how to eat healthy, as a not as a diet, like to get out of that diet mentality and to see eating healthy and making, and putting your food priorities first as a way of life rather than some diet. And that is, think about the things of the holiday and the festivities around the holiday that are not food based. What are we celebrating on Purim? Right? We're celebrating the fact that miracles can happen. We're celebrating the fact that sometimes the underdog can win. We're celebrating the fact of, celebrating femininity and feminine power, that, of Queen Esther. And we're also celebrating the fact that we're together, as this, whether it's be as a community, as a family, friends, enjoy the partying that comes, the parties that come with. And I don't drink alcohol, and people are always saying to me, oh wow, you drank a lot, Sippy, at that Purim party. I didn't drink anything, but I just am happy. I dance and I enjoy the party and I have a great time. And you don't have to have food to have a great time. So focus on the things that are not food based about the holiday, the togetherness, the significance of the holiday. Think about when you go to a festivity, to a party, to a meal. Think about what you can give and not just what you will be getting or not getting. That is my message to you and my tips for you for a very happy Purim. I will see you next week. And if you will notice in the notification, I am opening for people who are living sugar-free, who are abstaining from sugar and flour, and would like to join a support meeting on Sunday, March 13th, the Sunday before Purim, March 13th at 4 p.m. Israel time, 4 to 5 p.m. It's going to be a 1-hour meeting, small meeting, limited to 15 people only. And the 15 people who'll join, it's on a first come, first serve basis. All genders and denominations and food philosophies are welcome, whether you're a 12-stepper, whether you're ketogenic or vegan. As long as you don't eat sugar and flour, you are welcome to this meeting. We will talk about the practical and emotional and mental preparations and support for a happy Purim, right? A happy sugar-free and flour-free Purim. The cost will be $10 per person only. This is taking place on Sunday. It's 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 to 5 p.m. Israel time. If you would like to join, please PM me here or leave a comment, or you can email me or send me a WhatsApp or contact me any way you want if you're interested in joining this group. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful afternoon and a great evening. Like and share this video. See you next week on Sippy Live.